Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And in this segment, I'm going to be going over a concept called deviance. The reason I started thinking in these terms is because as I was approaching New York City, there were a lot of graffiti available and within the sides of the highways and even within the subways. And that got me thinking about the concept of deviance. And so in this segment, what I'll be going over is the history, a little bit of that, and then what deviance means, and then positive deviance. And then I'll compare the idea of positive deviance within potentially criminology versus in research. So let's start with Emil Durkheim. One of the claims that he made was that in all societies, there needs to be deviance in order to stretch the limits of society and create social change. And he established this. He's actually studied suicide, and so he was actually instrumental in understanding what is suicide and how to understand it from a deviant perspective. So there's multiple types. Howard Becker actually came up with these classification systems. There are many different types of classification. I won't have the time to go over each one of them in detail. However, this is one that I felt like was really providing theoretical framework for Howard Becker's theories. So one is falsely accusing. So there's a perception that a person is engaged in deviant behavior. However, in fact, they're not. So a false accusation. You can think of in criminology as well. Now, pure deviance is society understands that this person is in deviance or not. So, for instance, in the example of the graffiti, people not only see the graffiti, they actually know who has done it. And a lot of times this can come from a name or a group that they belong to. And I'll be going over that a little bit more in detail in the next segment. Then conforming is not deviating from what society expects and following the norms. And then secret deviance is where the individual is engaged in deviant behavior, but the perception is that they're not. And many times in individuals that have mass killings are committed in that, they actually secretly have done that while overtly they seem like a well-rounded citizen. In fact, there's examples of individuals that were prominent members in the church and individuals that were active participants in society, and secretly they had another side where they were actually murdering individuals. Of course, that is an extreme example of deviant behavior. If you think about what deviance is now, going back at it, think about deviance as affirming cultural values and norms. Any individual of virtue rests on an opposing idea of vice. There can be no good without evil and no justice without crime. And deviance defines moral boundaries. This is more extending Emil Durkheim's theories. So, and understanding deviance. So deviance defines moral boundaries. People learn right from wrong by defining people as deviant. A serious form of deviance forces people to come together and react in the same way against it. And then deviance pushes society's moral boundaries, which in turn leads to social change. So these are examples of how deviance can actually help societies attain environment of social change. So what is the idea of positive deviance? Now this is distinct from the idea of deviance completely, in that this is more focusing on individuals that are engaged in deviant behavior, which is positive. So what that means is they are not following the norms, and this has led to improvement with the same amount of resources. For instance, individuals that may have been growing rice or grains, they might have created a new crop system which allows them to grow the same crop much faster. Positive deviance had its start in the field of dietetics and vegetarian or vegan diets. And vegan diets a lot of times were shown to improve people's health and others. So how this is deviant is that most people don't track their diet. However, individuals that do eat a certain diet, for instance, a vegan diet, they're more likely to have an improved health and improved lot in life. However, there's many examples of this, and it's going to be an important way to understand how to improve by looking at positive components of society. So instead of understanding from a negative perspective what can be improved, from this perspective at least, if we focus on aspects of society where things have succeeded, then you can understand the overall strategy to improve the system that we're observing. I hope this has made sense in understanding deviance and how positive deviance is distinct from deviance itself. And then I'll, in the next segment, and in another video and audio, I'll be demonstrating the importance of deviance and how this affects society. Thank you for listening.